Wesley Brough, and I guide surf fishing for a living. I will be 30 this September. I was actually born in the States, and then I was about 3 weeks old when my parents moved back down here. So I grew up down here my whole life. My dad was a pastor of a church, and they were coming to do mission work, so they came down and started a church about 34, 35 years ago. So they've been here ever since. My dad still pastors the same church. Lived down here my whole life except for a couple years of college. Met my wife, dated out there for 2 years, and then got married, and now we have 2 little girls. So we got a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. We've always been a part of the church. I play guitar at church for worship, and so it's a big part of our lives. Feels like half of our family is there. Yeah, from when we were little kids, he'd take us fishing, and I just loved it, try and get him to take us fishing like anytime we could go. Then I started doing it on my own, and finally they let me go down to the Pacific beach out in front of where we lived. Funny thing was, like what we were doing today, catching snapper on the rocks and stuff. I'd go down there mornings and evenings by myself and fish that corner, fish it really hard, come back. My dad goes, "So, do you have a good day? What'd you get?" And I go, "Nah, you should have seen it, man. The snapper were huge. They're monsters, you know." And he goes, "Well, where's the fish?" I'm like, "Nah, they broke me off. No, huge fish, man. They'd take the lure and take it, rip around the rocks and snap me off over there." And I'd do this like day in, day out, and I kept losing lures, and I'd come back and make my own lures and like run back down there and throw them and then lose it to another big fish and come back. My dad goes, "Oh, what'd you get?" "No, you should have seen it. No, they were huge down there." And he goes, "You know what? You're not very good at this. You need to either quit or figure out how to get better at this. All you do is go lose lures." I started guiding when I was 17, guiding for 13 years now. Starting about mid-May, starting the beginning of roosterfish season. Colorado snapper, you got Cubera snapper, yellowtail occasionally off the beach. Same like California yellowtail, the Pacific ones. Snook, and you get giant needlefish too. Leopard grouper. I mean, you can basically show up in board shorts and be ready to fish. I mean, that's about all you need. I've binned everything out. I've binned them all out on these big snapper. You can't put the pressure on your trophy fish out there because you're gonna bend out your hooks. And now you go, "Now you gotta try these." And so I think you sent me like 4 boxes of hooks or something, and started catching fish on them. And they take a long time to lose the point, to dull. You can go through any brands you want, but you know, you pull hooks through the sand all day long and stuff, and it dulls the point pretty quick on most hooks. And these held up really well, the Kaijus. I was showing my guys, I was like, "Check out these hooks. These are the most awesome hooks I ever fished with. Look at these things," and oohing and ahhing over them. And then I went out and threw it. Big old snapper came up and ripped out line, and he took me around a rock and broke my line on the rock. I was so mad, and I realized why I was so mad. I was mad. I didn't want the lure back. I didn't even want the fish. I wanted my hooks back. Every time I left the house, he'd always say, "Remember, you're breakable." Then when I'd come home beat up off falling on the rocks or something, he goes, "What'd I tell you?" I said, "I told you were breakable. You gotta be careful." And my best friend in the world, apart from my wife, would be my dad. I mean, we get together every Sunday after church. Every Sunday afternoon we go and have coffee and hang out and talk, and we end up forgetting about what time it is and getting home late and spending 3-4 hours talking at coffee. And that's every week. If you want to find me Sunday evening, I'll be at the mall over there at the coffee shop talking with my dad. Everyone's always trying to get me to guide on Sundays, and I get people offering me twice as much money to guide on Sundays. And, nope, it's not worth it for me. I'd never guided on Sunday.